Ja, dann.
Interessante Typen dort. Okay. Interessante Typen seien euch gewesen, die zwei Mendels. Was einem von sie hat man gerufen, der größere Mendel, und beim zweiten, der kleinere Mendele. Interesting types were also the two Mendels. One of them they used to call the big Mendel, and the other one, the little Mendele. But die zwei Jiden sind gewesen die ungesehenste Balabatim in Städtel. Aber sie zwischen sich haben keinmal nicht gelebt, Shalom. These two fellows were the most well-respected householders in the town, but between themselves, there was never any peace. They couldn't live in peace. Der größere Mendel is gewesen a Schreiber in Velder. The big Mendel, he was an economist, mostly an econom, literally a writer in the forests. Is gewesen a heucher, breitbeiniger Yid. He was tall, broad-boned, a Talmud Chacham, and a feierdicker Gerer Chassid. He was learned, and he was a fiery Chassid of the Gerer Rebbe. Aber dabei ist gewesen a jeder Gibber, also als wenn vielleicht packen in Wald a Feuer, ganven in Holz, pflegt ihm annehmen beim Kark und ihm wegführen zu sich in der Kanzellarie, wo hat ihm gehalten, arrestiert. But at the same time, he was a strong fellow. And if he should catch in the forest a peasant stealing wood, then he would grab him by the back of the neck and he would drag him off to his cancellaria, to his office, where he kept him under arrest. Bis dem Peueres Mishpacha hat ihm ausgelesen mit der Rubel für sein Geneva, until the peasant's family would set him free by paying a ruble for his theft. Lebenseinheis pflegen Tomit Stein peuren und sägen Kletzer, von welcher sie haben geschnitten Bretter. Near his house, there were always peasants standing, sawing boards, from which they would cut off, they were sawing blocks of wood from which they would cut off boards. Ein Goy fleckt Stein auf den Klotz, einer von unten und sägen von Fartag bis Abend.
Von Fartog.
Von Fartag, thank you, von Fartag bis Abend. One non-Jew would stand on the block of wood and one from underneath, and together they would saw from morning till night. Andere Peuren pflegen führen fahrem Kletzer von Wald zu der Weißel, wo man hat sie zunauf geklappt in Plitten und getrieben kein Danzig. Other peasants would carry on his behalf blocks of wood from the forest to the Vistula River, where they would bind them together into floats, and they would drive them towards Danzig. And in fact, in my family, there is an otherwise unknown melody of the Upper boat riders who they'd sing it as they had the rafts of boats, and I can sing it to you later. Jeden Shabbos zu nachts, or Shabbos zu nachts, pflegen sich ansammeln zendlicher Peuren bei Mendlen in Stub. Every Saturday evening, dozens of peasants would gather together in Mendel's house. Setzen sich auf der Podloga, räuchern, speien und reden und warten auf dem Loin für eine Woche Arbeit. They would seat themselves on the floor. They would smoke and spit and talk and wait for their salary for the week of work. Mit die Sägen und Heck haben sie ausgesehen wie a Bande Gazlanim, with their saws and their hatchets. They looked like a band of robbers. Aber Mendel hat sich herumgedreht in sein atlesener Kapotte zwischen die Peuren, gerechnet und ausgezahlt. But Mendel, he would wind his way around in his satin capotta among the peasants. He would figure out and count out. Und Tomer hat einer probiert anheben a Geschlag mit der zweiten, and if one of the peasants would try to start a fight with another, hat Mendel dem Schläger angenommen beim Kark. Then he, Mendel, would grab the fighter by the back of his neck und ihm herausgeworfen vor der Tür, and he would toss him out of the door. Die Goyim haben gehalten a Welt von sehr Mendel, geschätzt ihm und Meure gehabt für ihm. The non-Jews thought the world of their Mendel. They highly prized him, and they were afraid of him. Noch mehr haben Meure gehabt für ihm, sein Weib und Kinder, and his wife and children were even more afraid of him. Sein Wort is gewen a Gesetz. His word was a law. Is gewen a takif ayid, aber an ehrlicher und a gerechter. He was how would you translate a takif here?
Authoritative.
Authoritative? Okay.
Yeah. Bossy.
Bossy, very good. I'm just looking this up in my dictionary.
Yeah.
An influential person or an authority or stubborn person. Can read all of those.
Yeah, that too.
But he was honest and he was upright. Is euch gewen a guter Baltfila, a genitter Balkria. He was also a good prayer leader and an experienced Torah reader. So the Malam is gewen a freilicher Yid, a kluger, a scharfer. And in addition to all of that, he was a joyful person, clever and sharp-witted. Von ihm hat Tomit geschmeckt mit Wald und Wind. He always had the fragrance of forest and of wind, of the outdoors. Ich gedenke einmal a Freitag, in welchen es hat sich getroffen a tragische Geschichte mit Ott dem Mendel. I remember once on a Friday, there happened a tragic occurrence with this particular Mendel. Gewöhnlich pflegt Mendel seine ganze Woche in seine Wälder, wo is gewen a Schreiber bei reiche Waldsachen. Usually, Mendel was all week in the woods, where he was a writer. I'm trying to get a good English translation. It's not just a writer. He was the
accountant.
The accountant, that's the word. He was the accountant for rich forest merchants. On Freitag pflegt heimkommen, and he would come home on Friday. Einmal, wenn is gewen in die Wälder, is krank geworden sein Kind. Once, when he was in the forests, one of his children became ill. Und Ederman hat sich umgeguckt, is es gestorben. And before anyone could look around, the child had died. Die herausgeschickte Schluchim haben nicht gekannt gefunden, dem Vater in die Wälder. The messengers who had been sent out were unable to find the father in the woods. Also wie in unser Städtel is kein Besäulem nicht gewesen, and seeing as in our little town there was no Jewish cemetery, hat man genommen das tote Kind und es geführt kein Sakratschin, Freitag in der Früh. They took the dead child, they brought it to Zakrachin, Friday in the morning. Also es man soll es makaber sein for Shabbos, in order to bury it before Sabbath. Wenn die Levaya is gegangen auf den Weg, is God angekommen der größere Mendel. And as the funeral procession was traveling on the way, Just then appeared the big Mendel. Das ist gewesen tragische Begegnung, and this was a tragic meeting. Aber der starke Ried hat kein Wort nicht gesagt. But this strong fellow said not a word. Und schweigendig mitgegangen, begleiten sein Kind zum Olam Ha'emes. And silently he walked along to accompany his child to the true world. Kein Sach hat nicht gekannt brechen dem kräftigen, festen Jid. Nothing was able to break this strong, how am I going to translate fest?
It's a synonym.
It's a synonym for kräftig, yeah. This strong-willed fellow. Mit der knapp Jahr später hat sein Jidne im geboren ein anderes Kind. And less than a year later, or just a year later, his wife bore him another child. Okay, Rachel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you particularly for saying Shabbat Nacht. I know I don't hear this from anybody in America. Shabbat Nacht. Yeah, it's wonderful. They sing Shabbos Nacht, but like my mother said Shabbat Nacht, and you too.
Well, I learned it from your mother.
I know. Wie hoch und kräftig und freilich es ist gewesen der größere Mendel, also klein und nicht unsäftig und verbissen und unmächtig ist gewesen der kleine Mendel, was somit konkurriert mit dem größeren Mendel in sein Dehesogen in kolische Sachen. As tall and strong and happy-go-lucky was the big Mendel. That's how small and invisible and stubborn and sad was the little Mendele, who always was competing with the big Mendel regarding expressing an opinion in public regarding public issues. Regarding issues of the Jewish community, communal issues. Der kleine Mendele ist gewesen verrechnet, veranogid, vor dem größten Schnittkrämer. The little Mendele was considered a rich guy because of his large dry goods store. Ist euch gewesen was ist gesessen und gelernt als Fach und gewesen a gewaltiger Frumme. He was also a Jew who was sitting and learning a lot, and he was a terrific religious man, a devotee, extremely devoted to religion. Aber der größere Mendel trägt ihn verdecken mit seiner Größkeit und Gehöre. But the big Mendel caught up with him or was stronger than him.
Surpassed him.
Thank you, yeah. Surpassed him with his physical bigness and his strength. Und es ist zwischen sie umgegangen, ewige Kinder wieder und Gerangel. So between them, there was always going on, they were always at odds with each other. The little Mendele was a little Jew,
Yeah,
dark.
read this in Yiddish first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Der kleine Mendele ist gewesen ein Pitzel Jidele, schwarz wie Keul, mit spitzige schwarze Egelach, mit einem kleinen kohlschwarz Bärdele, was ist gewachsen bloß auf dem Kinn, nicht auf die Back. So the little Mendele was a tiny Jew, dark like coal, with a dark pointy eyes, with a little uh, coal-like
All
black,
black.
coal black beard that grew only on the chin and not on the cheeks.
Right. When they call him a Schwarz, that means his hair is black. It doesn't say anything about his skin. His hair
Yeah,
was
I
black,
know.
is
Yeah,
called.
yeah, 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 yeah. Das ganze Idele is given bloß nose. The whole entire Jew was only a nose. That means his nose was bigger than all of him. His nose covered all his entire figure. Auch die Nose ist given scharf und gebeugen und verspitzt wie a Schnabel bei a Räubvogel. That nose was sharp and bent and pointy like a beak of a bird. Now, what is a Räubvogel? I don't know.
It's a bird of prey, like a vulture.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Das Jederle hat keinmal kein Schmächnis gegeben. Und wie kleiner ist nicht gewesen, hat gehabt in Meure sein zu wachsene Jidene und die Kinder. This little Jew never smiled. And as little as he was, he still kept his grown kids and his wife, he kept them afraid of him. Is given as so fromm, als Idene hat nicht getot rogen kein Scheitel, nur an a klessene Kopke. He was so religious that his wife wasn't allowed to wear a regular wig, which all the other women were wearing, but a satin, some kind of a cap, another cap that was considered more religious. I don't know. Wie es Legno trocken alte Weiber. That thing that she was supposed to wear, that head dress, that was worn by old women. Sie hat nicht gewagt, gegenstellen sich dem Willen von ihr kleinen Mendele. She didn't dare oppose the will of a little Mendele. Also hat auch gehalten in Meure die Balabatim von Städten. In the same way, he also kept the homeowners of the town. He kept them afraid of him too. Aber hat sich nicht gekannt, kein Ätze geben mit dem größten Mendel, was vielleicht häufig machen von ihm bei jeder Gelegenheit. But he could not find a solution regarding his relationship with a big Mendel who used to make fun of him at every opportunity. Überhaupt pflegt der größte Mendel häufig machen von kleinen Mendeles Reben, dem Worker, particularly the big Mendel used to make fun of the Rebbe of the little Mendel. Mendele, the Rebbe is the Worker Rebbe. It's the Rebbe from Work. Der größte Mendel hat בכלל heute gemacht von alle anderen Rabbinen. The big Mendel generally was making fun of all other Rebbes, Hasidic Rebbes, of other people. Der einzige Rebbe ist gewesen seiner, der Gerer. The only Rebbe that really existed, that had value in his eyes, was the Gerer Rebbe. Fühlt sich berimen mit viel täuschender Chassidim, was der Gerer Rebbe hat mit die Lomdim und Rabbonim. He used to brag about the thousands of Hasidim that the Rebbe of Ger had, and all those students that he had, and all the Rebbes that he had, he used to brag about it. He used to brag about the following the Ger Rebbe had. Es seien dort als so viele Rabbonim, als nicht alle können sitzen beim Tisch und sie stehen zugleich mit anderen Chassidim. That's what he is saying. There are so many Rebbes there that not everybody, there isn't enough room for everybody, that not everybody can sit by the table with the Rebbe, so therefore they are staying together with other Hasidim who are not as high esteemed as they are.
Right, so he's got rabbis who come to him.
They were rabbis, yeah.
And the other Hasidim have to stand at the side instead of sitting at the table, and many of the rabbis can only find place standing with the other Hasidim.
I see. So this is how it is, the Hasidim stand?
Those who don't fit at the table would be standing. They stehen, yeah.
Is it something that's customary or only in this story?
Yeah, sure. There's usually for Brengen or just at a meal, the Rebbe would be sitting at the head of the table. His closest Hasidim would be sitting at the table with him, and as many as could fit in the room would be standing at the side.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I saw it in the movies. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Heim ist der Gerer gewesen der größte Landen und Chochem und Tzadik. that actually the Gerer Rebbe was the greatest scholar and wise man and a righteous man.
Again, this is in the eyes of Mendele der Grosse.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, that's how the big Mendele is bragging about his Rebbe. All that. Sein Teure is gar nicht zu verstehen. And he continues his bragging. The Torah of that Gerer Rebbe is you cannot understand it. Die Nigunim in Ger sind die schönste. The Nigunim in Ger are the most beautiful ones. Mit ein Wort, es ist da ein Gott und ein Gerer Rebbe. In one word, there's only, just like there is one God in the world, so there is one Gerer Rebbe, which means he is extremely distinguished. He is the best, and he's the only, he's the only, he is it. He is the real thing. Die übrige gute Jiden machen sich bloß narrisch. The other Rebbes just are making fools of themselves. That means they don't know anything. Wenn sie wollen geerzählen, wollen sie alle weggelegt sie Rabbis und gefahren kein Geld. If they were smart, they would all give up their positions as Rebbes and go to Ger, to my Rebbe. So he said, mein Vater pflegt sich sparen mit Mendel. My father used to argue with Mendel. Verwurst mega Kaiser oben a Sachgeneral und der Eberste doch nicht schon mehr wie ein General oder Tate gefragt. Why can a Caesar have many generals, but but God is not allowed to have more than one general? That means the one general is the Gerer. Why isn't God allowed to have more rebels than just the Gerer? Und der Tate gefragt, my father asked.
Aber auf dem größten Mendel hat der Moschel nicht gemacht kein Räuschen. But this parable had no effect on the big Mendel. Hat mamisch nicht gekannt Herren voneinander reden. He just couldn't hear about any other Rebbe, achutz dem Gerer, outside of the Gerer Rebbe. Mit dem größten Chäusig zeigt Reden wegen Worgereben, zu wem es ist gefahren der kleinere Mendele. It was with the greatest mockery that he would speak about the Worker Rebbe, to whom the klein Mendele used to travel. Warum der Worker Rebbe, was hat gewohnt in Städtel Otwotsk bei Warscha, ist gewähnt, soll es mit Meuchel sein, and nicht kein übriger Landen. Because this particular Worker Rebbe, who was living in the little town called Otwotsk, near Warsaw, well, he was, let him forgive me for saying so, he wasn't especially learned. Man hat gesagt, dass nicht nur kann nicht kein Blatt Gemara, nor ist a viele nicht gewähnt kein größer Jaden in Chumash. They used to say that not only was he unable to study a page of Gemara, but he also wasn't even very well versed in the Chumash, in the 5 books of Moses. Aber der Pfarr ist gewesen ein gewaltiger Yerushalayim, a frumer, Sakanas Nefashis. But nonetheless, he was extremely God-fearing, pious, sakanas nefashis, extremely, literally, that means in danger of one's life, but it means
No, I
extremely.
will say extremely so. Just terribly. He was religious, extremely so.
Extremely, yeah.
Yeah, you don't. There's no need to translate
Yeah,
each
the
word.
literal meaning, yeah.
Yeah, it's an idiom.
Yeah.
Terrible. Hakonas never is terrible. Terribly.
When Azoi Frum seinen euch gewinnt, seine Chassidim, and his followers were equally pious. Vorke Chassidim haben das Sach gedavent, geweint, geklagt, Stücke more Schreier gewinnt. The Vorker Chassidim, they prayed a lot, they cried, they wailed, and they were just like depressives. They were a little bit like people who were depressed, more schreiradik. Zere negunim seine gewent treuerike. Their melodies were sad. Zere teures weinendike. Their teures, their learnings were weepy. Der größere Mendel hat stark Geschick gehad zu hören etwas als scharfe Teure von Worker. The big Mendel really was eager to listen, to hear some sort of sharp-witted teaching of the Worker. Aber der kleine Mendel hat gar nicht gehad, was zu erzählen von seinen Rebbens Teures. But the little Mendele, he wasn't able to, he had nothing to recount of his Rebbe's teachings. Und hat der Pfarrer erzählt wegen seiner gewaltiger Frömmigkeit. And instead of that, he would talk about his amazing piety. Hat erzählt, dass der Rebbe seiner hat zwei Brunnen in sein Häuf. Ein milchigen Brunnen und ein fleischigen Brunnen. He told that his Rebbe had two wells or springs in his yard. One was milchig and one was fleischig. Wasser zu fleischigen Macholem schöpft man von fleischigen Brunnen. Und Wasser für milchige Macholem schöpft man von milchigen Brunnen. Water to help to cook fleishik meals, they would draw from the fleishik well. And water for the milchik meals, they would draw from the milchik well. Der Rebbe las durch seine Chassidim nicht tragen kein Knepplech by the Kellner von die Hemder. And that Rebbe also would not allow his followers to wear any buttons on the collars of their shirts. Weil das is Meise Deutsch, because that's what the enlightened Jews used to do. Literally, that's how the Germans do it. But Deutsch here means a Jew who is...
They call the Litvaks.
Well, not necessarily Litvak, but Deutsch here usually refers to someone who's in the Haskalah movement.
Okay.
Nor sie verbinden ihre Kellner mit Bändlach, but they should tie their collars with ties instead of with buttons. Die Chassidim torren sich euch nicht beweisen in Rebensstub in sehr hittlich. And the Chassidim also were not supposed to show themselves in the Rebbe's house wearing their little hats, wie es tragen Polish Jiden, like the Polish Jews used to wear. Nor sie müssen tragen a rabbanischen kapeljach, but they should be wearing another kind of hat, a kapelush, a rabbinic kapelush. I'm not quite sure what that would look like, but it's a different kind of hat. Aber so, wie Jiden in Polen tragen doch nicht solche Kapellatschen, ist da ein Rebbenshauf ein Kapellatsch, was jeder Chassid tut im Hand, wenn geht rein zum Rebben und geben a Quittel. But because in Poland, people didn't wear this sort of kapellatch. So in the Rebben's yard, there was kept one kapellatch which every chassid would wear if he was going into the Rebbe to give him a kvittel. A kvittel would be a piece of paper with a request. In Volker Reif, taroich nicht reinkommen, kein fremder chassid. Also, no outside chassid should ever appear or come into the Vorker courtyard. Only the Chassidim of the Vorker. Aber der Reker gibt der Vorker Tzaddik Achtung auf die Weiber von seinen Chassidim. But especially, the main point was that the Vorker Tzaddik he placed his attention on the women, the wives of his Chassidim. Die Weiber von die Vorker Chassidim toren nicht tragen kein Scheitlich auf die Kep. The wives of the Vorker Chassidim should never wear scheitel, wigs, on their heads. Weil das is zu apokorsisch, because that's too non-believing like apokorsisch. Sie dürfen golden die Kep und tragen Kopkes. They should shave their heads and wear these kopkes, these bonnets. Der Rebbe hat euch in jeder Stadt sein zum Maschgiach, was Gedachtung auf der Aufführung von seiner Chassidims Weiber. The Rebbe also had in every town his own mashgiach, his own ritual supervisor, right, who would place his attention on the comportment of the wives of his Chassidim. Aber mashgiach, der wisst sich, as emetzen Zayiden etrag der Scheitel, if this supervisor would become aware that someone's wife was wearing a sheitel, los der es gleich wissen dem Rebbe. He would immediately inform the Rebbe. Und wenn der Mann von Ot der Jiden kommt kein Vorke, and when the husband of this particular woman would arrive in Vorke, haste him the Rebbe arois farfen becovered gadol. The Rebbe would command that they throw him out with great becovered gadol, literally with great honor, but in a dishonorable way. Otta zelche meises, like der kleinere Mendele der erzählen, wegen sein Rebbe. This was the sort of stories that the little Mendele used to tell about his Rebbe. Aber der größere Mendel hat bloß gelacht von die tzadikische Dissim. But the big Mendel, he only just would laugh about these miracles of the tzaddik, of the righteous man, of the Vorker Rebbe. Weiß was, milchige Brunnen, fleischige Brunnen, scheitlich, kopkes, das alles is garnished. What do I know? These milchig and fleischig wells, these wigs, these kopkes, these hair coverings, it's all nothing. Ich will wissen, was teure der Vorker sagt. I'd rather hear what sort of a learning he tells you. Reb Mendele, Mr. Mendele, hat geteinet. He would request. Reb Mendele hat nicht gehabt was zu entfern. But the little Mendele didn't have anything to answer with. Und hat der Rebbe sich herausgedreht mit der Terz. And so he would twist himself out of the problem by giving an excuse. Mein Rebbe soll leben so nicht, hat geteinet. Halt nicht davon. My Rebbe, he doesn't give lectures. He would geteinet doesn't mean to complain here. It means he would
argue.
Yeah, he would claim. He would argue. He would claim. Okay. Yeah. Halt nicht davon. He doesn't think that's so important. As man can, sagt man. People who can teach. Hat der größere Mendel, the big Mendel would answer about that. The English expression, those who can do, those who can't teach. That's just the opposite here.
Yeah. Okay. Einmal war das sicher so. Aber der größere Mendel schon so scharf Häuser gemacht von Worke. One time, at a fight like that, an argument like that, the big Mendel already made fun of the Walker too much, a little exaggerated in making fun of him. Nu, Reb Mendel, Rebbe hat etwas Mechadisch gewesen in Weiberische Kopfkes, hat gesagt. Nu, Reb Mendel, your Rebbe issued some kind of new ideas, new laws regarding the headdress of women, making fun of the whole issue. He asked. In der Regel ist der kleine Mendele gegebener Sprung in der Hoch und der lang dem größten Mendel als Saflem über der Back, als alle Jiden in Westmidrash seinen geblieben verzittert. Aha. At that moment, the big Mendel was making fun of the Walker Rebbe, like that, the little Mendele jumped up to the high in the air, and he hit the big Mendel. He gave him such he hit him hard on his cheek, so that all the Jews in the study house remained shaking. Der größere Mendel hat nichts zurückgegeben. The big Mendel did not hit back. Der Patsch von dem Pitschele Idele ist gekommen so der Wart, als der größere Jid, was schlecht beikommen feuern, ist geblieben gelähmt auf Not. So the big man didn't hit back. The blow of this tiny little Jew came unexpectedly, so that the big Jew, who used to beat up peasants and overcome peasants, he remained paralyzed on the spot. Der kleine Mendele ist gestanden eingekocht, gerät umzukommen auf Kiddush Hashem für sein Rennen. This is funny. So the little Mendele stood twisted. Yes, he was afraid. He was ready to die in the name of God, all for the sake of his Rebbe. He was ready to be killed, I guess, by the big Mendel. But the big Mendel did not hit him back. Now, Erev Yom Kippur, noch Malkes, ist der größere Mendel zugegangen zum kleinen Mendele und ihm ausgestreckt a hand. So on the idiom of Yom Kippur, after the prayer with this symbolic clashing, then after that, the big Mendel went over to the little Mendel and he stretched his hand out to him. Reb Mendele, ich bitte euch Mechila, hat gesagt. Und langte ihm ein Gläser Bronfen mit Lecker. Reb Mendele I am asking you for forgiveness. He said, and he gave, or he served him a glass of liquor with cake. Oh, I'm reading from the computer. Okay, it's okay. Der größte Männl hat nicht gekannt lang trocken kein Sinne auf ihm zu. The, I'd rather read from my book. Where is it exactly in the book?
Top of 200. Anheb von 200.
Okay, thank you. The page was too clean all of a sudden. It's a computer, yes. Okay, okay. The big man hat nicht gekannt, lang trocken kein Sinne auf Emerson. The big man could not hold a grudge against anybody. Die Gewura und die Freude hat herausgespritzt von dem Wald. The strength and the joyfulness was like came out of this forest Jew.
It's an interesting metaphor. Sprotzen is to sprout. And
Yeah.
after all, he deals with plants, so it's sprouted.
Wow, yeah, okay. Interesting, ja. Hat euch lieb gehabt, machen oft alle Chai, und hat schön damit ausgesucht, sich eine Gelegenheit zu trinken mit Chassidim in Besamid. He also liked to drink often with the Hasidim. And he always was looking for an opportunity to drink with the Hasidim in the study house. Do it's given a Yortzeit, do a Simche, do a Siyum von a Masechte. Auf Pesach pflegte bringen mein Tate a Matone a Flasche gezerrten Wein. So he was looking for opportunities to drink. What are the opportunities? Somebody's Yortzeit is a death anniversary. Here there was like a party. Here there was like the ending of the reading of a tractate of Gemara. For Pesach, he used to bring for my father a gift, a bottle of wine. Now, that gets certain, is it expensive wine?
I was looking it up. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Because Getzer is to feed, Seren. And so it can also mean to be hungry.
So what is it? It's nourishing wine?
It could be. It can also mean scrawny. So it's not clear.
Yeah, okay. Wenn fleckt reinkommen zu uns in Stub, fleckt mitbringen Fried in Haus. When he would come to our house, he would bring joy in the house. Also fleckt der kleine Mendele mitbringen in Haus a Stück Marschheure. In the same way that this one was bringing joy, the big one, the little one used to bring into the house depression. A stigma, idiom. Is damit a piece of depression. Ist damit gewesen unzufrieden, damit gesorgt sich über Jüdischkeit, was wird nicht genug abgehitten. He was always unhappy, always worried about piety, about the Jewish religion that is not sufficiently observed. Eigenlijk weg mich mosteren von meiner Rumläufen mit Proste Englisch und bringen mir ein Moschel von sein Itzchak, was fühlt sich leitisch und fromm. He also used to scold me for running around with the simple folk, the simple boys, and bring me an example, a model, presenting his Yitzchak as a model behavior, who behaves like a man, like a person, and in a religious way. The Yitzchak is Engelreich schon gewesen an Emester Worker, auf Romarko Navena. This Yitzchak was already in his youth. He was a real worker chassid, a very pious. Afromak, it's like a put down of the religious person. Afromak. He doesn't say Afromer, but Afromak. It's he's extremely religious, but it's in a negative way. Una vene and a crybaby. Ich habe nicht gekannt, vertrogen sein Schocklen sich und glotzen mit die Augen. I was not able to tolerate his shaking and his staring with his eyes. There's like in devotion to the Almighty. Am ersten habe ich nicht gekannt leiden dort, was bei jeder Gelegenheit auf mit mir herausgestellt und dem Yitzchak fahren musste. Particularly, I could not stand that at every opportunity they brought back the Yitzchak for me as a model behavior to show me how I am to behave. Yitzchak steht nicht bei der Tür zwischen die Balmeloches, was man mich gestraft. Yitzchak is not standing by the door with all the simple folk, the
tradesmen, the craftsmen.
Craftsmen, okay. Hat man mich gestraft. They were scolding me. The straft is really to punish, but here they were scolding me. Yitzchak läuft nicht darum über die Felder. Yitzchak is not running around in the field. Yitzchak zerreißt nicht die Kapotte. Yitzchak doesn't tear up his Kapotte. Himmel und Erd und Yitzchak. Heaven and earth and Yitzchak. Yitzchak and Yitzchak is it.
Farbiker. Farbiker Pashoin.
Farbiker, colorful.
Farbiker Pashoin in unser Städtel ist euch gewesen Joina Podgura. A colorful person in our Städtel. personality in our shtetl was also Joina Podgura, a Yid, a Jew. Was hat gebrennt Keulen und getrieben Smola von Sosnebemer in die Wälder. Was had he burnt coal and maybe and I guess he made charcoal and brought out tar, I guess, from the pine trees.
Yeah,
Right.
this word podgora comes from the word to burn in Russian, apparently, or in Polish.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I guess he makes coal and stuff from the pine trees, Bemer in die Wälder. Otter Jonah hat gewohnt hinter den Städtel. This Jonah lived behind the Städtel.
Or outside of.
Outside, yeah, I guess outside, like sort of like the Städtel suburbs, I guess. Und hat Tomid, had Tomid gehad, den Teures mit sein Weib, der Joinige. He always had little Torah, I guess.
Yeah, he always had arguments in front of the rabbi.
Yeah.
Clashes with her, for which he went with her to the rabbi.
There with his wife, Joinige.
Yeah, this is her identity. Instead of he's Joine. If he's Joine, she's the Joinige. Why should she have an identity of her own? She's Joinige.
She's Joine's vibe. Joinige.
Yeah.
Ja. Dat Dorfische Poorvolk had zich geveerd wie Emisse Poieren. This village couple behaved like or lived as real peasants. Emisse Poieren. Die Joinige Flecktrogen Stiefel und Dorfische Fatscheile auf den Kopf. Jonah's wife, Joinige, Fleck used to wear boots and a like a village scarf, I guess, Fatscheile in her head.
Yeah.
Joina Fleck Wintertrogen Reuten Shep seinem Pelz vergartelt mit der Riemen. Joina, the man, the husband,
Yeah.
Fleck around winter time, wear a red sheep pelts, a sheepskin, I guess.
Yep.
With a vergartelt mit a riemen, like a
tied with a strap.
Strap, yeah. Auf die Yaridim. Auf die Yaridim in Städtel fleckt kommt mit alle Peuren zugleich. For the county, for the city, for the fair, for the market days in Städtel, he used to come with all the peasants together zugleich. Bei jeden Jarid fleckt reinkommen zu uns. At every fair day, he used to come to us, visit us. Der Langen, Amatona, Bissel, Honig oder Käse und einen mit der grob Kohl und mit scharfer, grober
Ration.
Scharfer, grober Ration, yeah. He used to give us, Der Langen, a little gift, maybe a little honey or a little piece of cheese. And I guess complain or with a thick voice with a sharp, thick resh, rolling his R's or something, I guess. Rabbi, eat mir up, bit mine.
Get mich up.
Get me up mit mein Marshas.
Marshas is a wicked woman.
Yeah, Marshas.
I see, with the extra noch an hyperika reis, yeah.
Yeah.
Marshas, Rabbi, to get me divorced from my wife that I don't like. My Marashas. Gel von ihr Jungerheit in der Erd gehen. I will from her from her Jungerheit, from her young days into the I will go to the
Before my time, I will go to my death.
My death. From her, go to my death in the Erd, yeah. The Yonica had geklopt. His wife complained, Rabbi, schokelt me. Maakt meer
slokt er slokt.
Oh, schlokt, not schokelt. Schlokt, dank. Slokt me. Maakt me bloeie seconds often alive. Rabbi, he hits me. He puts blue marks on my body, black and blue marks on my body.
Yeah.
Ja. Eerder men had zich omgekocht before one looked at this.
Before one could look around.
Yeah, before one could look around. Had sie opgedeckt waren Taten, die Beluska ungewiesen die seconds. She opgedeckt, she and she opened, I guess, before
Uncovered.
Uncovered. Yeah, it's a better way. Yeah, uncovered for the father the blouse and showed the marks. Mein Tata hat sich weggedreht. He turned away because he doesn't want to see this. Nicht zu gucken auf kein Jidda, not to look at a uncovered woman's body. Yeah. No. Hat gesagt, a jüdische Tochter, Tor nicht so. So he said a Jewish woman should not, a Jewish daughter should not do that, open your blouse like that.
And et is a dismissive interjection. Yeah.
Et. Adank. And Bivel no.
Du leinst es erscheinen, noch ein Paragraph.
Nog geen paragraaf, ja. Over die Joinige had getan ears. But the Jonah's wife, the Joinige, made hers.
She did her thing.
Her stuff, yeah. Joina is gestanden mit der Beich versteckt in Riemen und sich kaum gehalten auf die Fies von die viel Schnapsen. Joina stood with the whip, the Beich. I guess it's stuck in his little belt thing, his Riemen, his und sich kaum gehalten auf die Fies, and he barely was stood up on the feet from all the schnapps he was drinking. We viel schnapps. Was hat gemacht mit die bekannte Poirem seine, which he had made, or he drank with all his. Well, I guess he made the schnapps with his peasant friends.
Yeah, machene schnapps means he drank.
Drank. Yeah, I guess in the same, yeah, machene schnapps, yeah. Not he actually brewed the schnapps, but he made the schnapps, yeah.
Yeah.
Rabbi, ihr wollt gemerkt versuchen ihr Essen. You should taste her food.
You ought to have tasted.
You ought to have tasted her food. Hat sich geklagt, he complained. Chazirim, ich bet über Herr Covid, wollten es nicht gegessen. Pigs, I beg your pardon my French, so to speak. Ich bet über Herr Covid would not even eat her food. Ich habe bei ihr kein Leben. I cannot live with her. Ja, der Tater fleck ständig opschicken, joine heim. Ihr soll kommen, wenn ihr wird sein ausgenichtert. Father used to always send him back off home, Jonah, until that he should come when he is sobered up. Ausgenichtert. Einmal hat man ihm aufgegett, aber nicht mit sein Weib, or mit a Yid, mit a board. One time, had him aufgeggt, This is a
Upgeget, divorced
They
him.
divorced him.
Opgeget. Opgeget. One time he hot men him Opgeget. One time got divorced, but not with his wife. But he didn't get divorced. We're not talking about divorce with his wife, Nishmit Vibe, nor with a Yid, but with a Jew, a Jew with a board.
Yeah. Right. Great.